Hello! So last week was the Lunar New Year and the new moon, and it was quite a crazy week for me. It's not that a lot of things happened, but a lot of things came up from different situations, and I learned a lot, and I wanted to share it with you. So on Monday, I had therapy, and I told my therapist about this TV series called Mr. Robot and how it helped me. If you haven't watched it, I'm probably gonna say some spoilers, but also the show is incredibly complex and it has many plots and subplots and many characters and stuff. So it's still worth the watch, honestly. For me, there's two plots or two main things from Mr. Robot that I particularly enjoyed. One is the fact that the main character is a hacker and he hacks the biggest corporation and creates chaos. And then it gets messy and stuff, and as per usual with dystopian shows, they choose to keep it simple and decide that it was better that the way it was before the hack and stuff. But the show was from 2015 and it ended in 2019, and there were a lot of things that hadn't happened back then but that are happening right now. For example, they talk about crypto and China versus the US. There was even a line about Pfizer. And the second main point of interest for me was the fact that the main character has also a multiple personality disorder or something like that. Obviously, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't really know, but I thought it was very interesting. The way it's portrayed and acted out and shown in screen resonated a lot with how I personally do shadow work. My therapist told me that it's a method that is used often in psychology, and that usually you call up two parts that are in conflict within yourself, and then there's like another presence that acts as the adult or mediator. And these personalities or presence or like characters are often created from a need for protection or as an inner critic. And it's also like another viewpoint of psycho-cybernetics. If you've read that book, that's also another way of seeing it. It's like reviewing your settings and making sure that there's no two beliefs that are opposite to each other so that you don't self-sabotage. Another thing that ties in what I wanted to share is that I've been reading The Three Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth by Dolores Cannon, as I've told you in the previous episode. And she's been helpful in keeping things into perspective. As in, the world is very crazy right now, but it is all an illusion, and we are part of the universe, and we are here on Earth for a reason, and everything is gonna be fine. But while reading this book, I've become more open to have contact with beings from other worlds. It's not like I've ever been close to it, but since reading this book, I've consciously been open to casual contact with extraterrestrials, I guess. On Wednesday, I did a bit of writing on my journal, which always helps me clear my mind and understand myself better. And after a few months without having a specific goal or a direction, I actually found a bit of like meaning to life, and for me that was very big. And then on Thursday morning, I combined the talking to different parts of me with the openness to having contact with the multidimensional beings, as well as a walking meditation that I've learned with Amber Khan, The Quietest Revolution on Instagram, the Sound Walks, and all of that. She has a Patreon, and when I walk, I envision the highest version or possibility for me. And that's what some people call jumping dimensions and stuff. Just an idea and another way that it helps clear my head and get to know myself better. And so on Thursday, what I did was to set my walking path to a slower pace, close my eyes, and this time I saw what I had written the day before, but with all sorts of details. Like something was like finally opening, and it was finally possible that I could go forward. I don't know if this is like the stars and the planets, but I think I also have to put some work into it if you want something to happen. Now the next part, it's gonna sound very weird, okay? Just bear with me. So when I meditate, I usually have visuals. I prefer guided meditations to just like mantras or because I always have visuals. So if I'm meditating, I want you to guide me. Otherwise, I can go off a story I made up in my head, you know. But on that moment on Thursday, I don't know if I don't know if I had a visual or I imagined, but I did feel like I was kind of in a meeting with like my like parts of myself that might have conflict with like my next steps in my life, and then like my angels and my spiritual guides and my ancestors and stuff. And then I also saw like one specific being that was not human, just like as a light, and they were doing upgrades to my body and like taking away blockages. That's all I really remember. So that's that. Afterwards, I thought of running some errands, but instead my Cuban mom needed help to advertise her Airbnb, since Cuba's internet is expensive and shitty and not accessible everywhere. So I spent the afternoon and evening doing that. Then I had this need to cry, and I didn't really know why. But again, I'm in a place where I can heal, so I let myself cry. And then I wrote down and found out about this trauma that I had from when I was like 15 years old. And I sent a voice note to a friend while still half crying. And my friend, she's a Pisces and she rarely answers right away, but she literally called me and we talked for 3.5 hours. And I called her specifically because we both went to a very religious school, and I knew that she would understand me because, well, she's Muslim, and when I read the Quran, I asked her, and we basically have very similar views on religion specifically. So this school is Catholic, but it's from a group called Opus Dei. In essence, or at least what I took away from it, is that people are to be a saint in the middle of the world. That's the theory, right? And in this school there was also a youth program or activity center, And at first they are super welcoming and nice, and they tell you you are so cute, you are such a good person, they want to get to know you. And me, I was coming from two bullying experiences. I was very sensitive. I didn't have many friends in that school. So it felt really good to feel like I belonged, basically. And I ended up spending a lot of time there and joining a lot of their religious practices. Like, I've always been quite interested in self-development, so I developed a habit to become a better person every day. And I developed a relationship with God. Not the one that they talked about, honestly, but I did start to feel more inner peace and inner love and feeling like everything was going to be okay and having faith in that. And I actually got so into it that I thought I wanted to join them. I told my parents, and thank God, literally and ironically, they told me, just go to university first and then we talk about it. Like, then you think about it. And after that, I started asking questions because there were a lot of things that didn't add up. Not even just in the Bible, but in general, their beliefs. Like, why was so wrong to wear a shirt that was lower than the neck? Like, why can't I wear a bikini? Why can't I read a book or listen to certain music? And like stuff like that. And as soon as I started to question things, they started to pull away. And when they did this, I felt so alone and like somehow I was a bad person because they were dedicating their lives to Jesus. So every day they were closer to Jesus and to God, and they were like, why would I turn my back to God? And so my reasoning back then was like, I must have been like talking wrong to God or something. They made me feel like any relationship with God that differs from their relationship with God was wrong. And I always felt like it was quite disrespectful when they prayed for quote unquote the sinners, because like they might be okay. Why are you praying for them? Pray for yourself, no? Like, mind your own business. It was always outside of them. It wasn't. Now I realize that they were quite superficial in their relationship. I feel like maybe not. I don't know. I can't know that. It's just how it felt. But again, for a long time, I don't know if I just stopped. I didn't stop believing in God immediately. I still had that relationship, but when I went to university, it was easy to forget about church, about all of this. And so that also gave me a bit of space to get over things that were obviously wrong indoctrination from the Opus Dei, like being someone who goes to church but also listens to reggaeton. That was something that was not wrong in my mind, but I would judge it because other people judged it. Or like wearing a bikini is simple stuff and it's stupid stuff, but it was quite a brainwashing moment for me. But ever since the pandemic, when I've had time to think about God and the universe and stuff, I come back to myself and I realize that I never lost that. It's just that, and I never turned my back to it. It's just, it was very unfortunate that they did that, honestly. But it was also on me to go back to that relationship with God. And now that I am aware of that moment, I am able to put it behind me and to recover that inner peace and inner self-love that I had, and that feeling of everything is gonna be fine. Going back to Mr. Robot, when doing this kind of work where I talk to different parts of myself, lately I had been seeing this part of myself that was brave, strong, and didn't show emotions or feel her feelings unless she was completely alone in her bedroom or when I had my period. And I always picture her with like black eyeliner and sorry, smoky eye, full red lips, leather jacket, leather boots, and like an attitude of leave me the fuck alone or I'm gonna kick your ass, stuff like that. She was someone that also listened to Beyonce every single morning because otherwise no one would have her back. This happened, like this version of myself appeared when I went through something with my family. And again, I had to rely on myself. And I realized now that I was angry at God and I felt like I had to overdo everything because again no one would have my back. I also recognize that that badass version of myself was keeping pre-15-year-old me safe. Like my inner child is a hopeless romantic, but to survive I had to lock that little hopeless romantic up. And to be honest, to this day, still feels weird to enjoy a romantic movie when I'm not on my period. And this week has been really healing. And moving forward, I will continue to express that inner child. Well, I mean, it's not like I'm finished. Like, healing is a long life journey. And again, it's a journey, not a destination. But I mean, like, it's just been really healing and I wanted to share it with you. And just to tell you the end of my week, after the 3 hour and a half conversation with my friend, I went to sleep at 5 a.m., woke up at 10 a.m., went to the toilet, and then went back to sleep. Woke up again at 3 p.m., feeling super refreshed, like empty of any heaviness in my body, I guess from all the healing, but also I remember that meditation that I did with the light being and stuff. And then when I did my daily hour of walking, the songs, I would swear to you that they sounded different. Like the drums were just a tiny bit different. And like the music was like more clear somehow. It was just the weirdest feeling. And also this past Friday I had a lot of people that I normally help me instead. And again, it might sound like the slightest difference, but it feels like I moved different screens or a different level or a different it really does feel like I moved dimensions. And I like this one better. It's been a bit hard because some of my past beliefs have come up, but I'm ready to fight for what I want. which for a few months, if you have listening to my podcast, I felt like I couldn't. So that was my little trip. If you're listening to this, we got this. We are doing so well. And thank you for being here. And thank you for listening to my ramble about my life. And I'll talk to you soon.
I must say, I'm almost always relieved to get home from an international trip without incidents or having to deal with health issues. Sadly, for almost a quarter of all international travelers, this won't be the case. 1 in every 5 people get sick while traveling. So what happens when you fall sick while abroad? Instead of ruining your whole day at a hospital or ER clinic, use the AirDoctor app to get a clinic, home, or telemedicine consultation with ease. AirDoctor, a digital platform that connects international travelers to local doctors abroad, makes life so much easier during hard times. Whether you need an in-person appointment or an online video consultation, the AirDoctor app connects you with a suitable local doctor within a few clicks. AirDoctor is currently available in over 70 countries worldwide and free to download and use. Visit air-doctor.com/traveler to get the app and travel with peace of mind.